Hey y'all, welcome to Better Harmony with me, Brett. In this video, we are going to learn how to sing the male harmony part for the song The Blessing by Elevation Worship, which was written by Kari Jobe, Cody Carnes, and several other folks. Now, my gut reaction to this song when I first heard it was, oh man, it is so repetitive. And it is, but as I've dug in a little bit, I've come to really appreciate the simple mantra that this song repeats over and over because it comes straight from Scripture. Also, repetitive looping songs like this are really fun for background vocalists because they allow for lots of opportunities to grow and build and shape the music. Now, the album version of this song is in the key of B major, and so that's the key we're going to use today to learn the male harmony part. Note that your worship leader may change the key and make it higher or lower, but these harmonies will still work in any key. Just be aware of if it's a different key than B. And as we make our way through the three sections and their variations, I'll speak more to the harmonic choices that I've made. And as always, bear in mind these harmony lines are just suggestions based on how I might instruct a background vocalist to perform this song. Always, always, always defer to your worship leader when providing harmonies to support the lead vocalist. Okay, let's get to the music. If you are singing harmonies on this song, you probably won't enter until the second pass of the verse and the chorus. So that's kind of where we'll start up. And note that I'm demonstrating a harmony part that lies a third and a fourth below the male melody in both of these sections. So let's sing the melody just to get that in your head. The Lord bless you and keep you. So that's where the male lead is. But before we even go back and start that harmony line, there's one thing I want to talk about on the very first phrase of this song. So on the very first line of this song, something happens called a pickup note. In this case, it's a 16th note pickup. And it's something to just watch out for as a background vocalist because you don't want to put too much weight on them. I like to think of them as stepping stones going from, that first pickup to the first quarter note. So in this case, it's the Lord, that part. So I'll demonstrate kind of what it should be. The Lord bless you. Right, so we're not putting too much weight on the. If you kind of made them equal, the and Lord, it would sound more like this. The Lord bless you, which I think is more fitting for a choral sound rather than a contemporary worship sound. So just watch out for that, watch out for the balance there. And getting into that second phrase, let's go on. The Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. I think that's a bit of an awkward line for the background vocalists. It's probably the most difficult phrase in the whole song to sing harmonies to. So I would suggest working to match the energy and phrasing of the lead vocal here, in addition to really knowing your notes. And that's going to make it sound really nice. And on this line too, be sure not to overemphasize that descending idea at the end of the phrase. Gracious to you. You kind of want to pull up on that, vocally as you're going down to avoid it getting too heavy. Otherwise, you're going to drill it into the ground, more like, gracious to you. You really got those notes accurate, but now the balance is off. So watch out for that as well. Let's look at the whole verse phrase here. We're going to go on. Here we go. The Lord bless you and keep you, make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. Right, so one more thing to note about the verse before we move on is just be aware of when and how the lead vocalist chooses to employ stylization with their voice. For example, if they were to add a little bit of a bend on that phrase, the Lord turn his face toward you. If they kind of do something like that, it generally sounds better if you sprinkle in a little bit of that bend and that stylization as well. So in the harmony part, it would sound like this. The Lord turn his face toward you. Right, so you can still kind of mirror what they're doing and go to their voice, and it's just going to sound more cohesive and really great. Okay, moving on to the chorus, the amens. If your team is choosing to make this a soft chorus, I would advise maybe going for a softer, more off the voice tone. But if your team is going to build through this part and crescendo, because it's the second pass, you may want to employ more of a full chest voice. So I'll demonstrate the difference. I'll sing the harmony so you have that in your head here. Here would be the melody, so you have it in your head. Here's the melody. Amen. 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 Right? So that would be like more of the belty version. So here is the harmony with kind of the more lighter off the voice tone. Amen. 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 And then here would be more of like that same energy, but with a chest voice, it's just a different timbre. It doesn't necessarily have to be louder. It just sounds different and it supports the lead in a different way. Amen. 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 So that would be the differences there. And there's another thing that I want to point out, and this is just a personal preference, but with musical sections like this one, I always think it's really effective to line up the cutoffs of each amen. It provides really exciting motion when a chorus of singers cuts phrases together with energy. So I'm going to demonstrate what I would call pushing to a cut, and I'll overemphasize like where the cutoffs are so don't be alarmed like, whoa, that's too extra. I'm being extra on purpose so you can really hear where the cutoffs are. You wouldn't do this in a performance necessarily. Amen. 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 Right, so you can kind of hear how that energy builds. Amen. Amen. And it's really exciting when people do that all together. Okay, so the final section we're going to learn in this song is the bridge. And when we get here, the female vocalist is going to take over the melody line. She sings the first pass low in the register, and then she jumps up the octave. So you'll likely want to stay out during the low bridge and then come in after the octave flip. And if you listen to the recording, that's what happens. All the background vocalists start to come in once Kari Jobe goes up. So your worship leader may have you start by doubling the female lead in your register down an octave, which will actually be the same exact melody that she was just singing. So here's the melody of that. I mean, everyone knows it, but may his favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family and your children and their children and their children. Right, so that would be what she was singing and what you would take over. And doubling is a term that you may have heard your worship leader use before. It generally means that you are singing the same part as someone else, and usually the melody, because that's the part that we want to push to the forefront when we're trying to encourage congregational singing. If you're a male background vocalist asked to double a female background vocalist, like in this case, she'll usually be singing in her register and you'll be singing in yours, and the parts will move together just an octave apart. If you're a male background vocalist doubling a male lead vocalist, usually that means you'll be singing the same notes together. You'll be in unison. So that's the quick version of doubling. So as this section gets going, you may want to switch to the harmony that lies a fifth and a sixth below the female melody line. So it's higher than the melody in the male register, but it's not super duper high. It does go up to an E natural in this key, so if that is out of your range, sing within the range of your ability. But I think it's doable for most male vocalists if they take the time to just practice and get comfortable with the part. So I'm going to go back to the harmony at bridge 1, or the melody, and I will kind of play that through, and then right after that I'll demonstrate the harmony part above that. So we have, may his favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family and your children and their children and their children. So that's the melody you may have been doubling, below the female, and then the harmony is going to be the harmony right above that. May his favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family and your children and their children and their children. So that would be, it's a little bit higher, but again, should be attainable if you just practice and get comfortable with that. But before moving on, we should hit the tag of this section, where they repeat the he is for you, over and over and over again. So let's go and hear that section. I'll pick it up from bridge 3 here on the harmony line, and then I'll just continue with the harmony through that tag, which is leading into our final choruses. So we have, in the morning, in the evening, in your coming, in your going, in your weeping and rejoicing, he is for you, 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 he is for you. And then they blow the roof off, right? So again, this may be strenuous for your voice since it stays in the same register for so long. And it's around a lot of guys' break too, including mine. So if you're more comfortable doubling the melody line, or if that's what your worship leader would rather you do, go for it, and it'll sound great. So then we're back to another up chorus, and this is one of those songs that can just go on and on and on, but you're likely close to the end at this point if you're just performing this song in a normal Sunday worship service. The worship leader needs to wrap it up. Stephen Furtick's hologram isn't going to come and preach a mini sermon on the stage. We're not doing the 12-minute version, so let's move on. But I digress. Sorry about that. Now, while the previous harmony we learned works just as well for the final choruses, you may be asked to kind of jump up and double the melody in order to bring the energy up. Because, then the female background vocalist could invert and sing above the melody, which sounds amazing and has tons of energy. So here's the melody double. It's the main melody of the hallelujah, of the amen section, right? So we have amen, amen, amen. So that's the main one from before. That's the main melody of this section. So if you can do that and you feel comfortable, great. That would sound awesome. But if you want to hear that background vocal part, you can hear the difference in register. So I'll sing that kind of all out there. Amen, amen, amen. So again, that may be something that you'd rather do. The melody goes up to an E natural in this key, so if you were working through the bridge and all that, you should be fine. Plus, at this point, the whole band is rocking, so no one's going to notice a crack or two anyway, right? And both lines work well, and both add to the song in different ways. So again, that decision is just going to be up to you and your skill level, as well as your worship leader's discretion. But it may be helpful to know both just in case. All right, so we've made it through all the sections of this song. Your team may choose to Frankenstein the ending together in any number of ways, but if you know your part in each section, that's going to allow you to be effective in each section no matter how your team decides to end this song. Okay, y'all, our time is up. Be sure to check out the demonstration video of the blessing on my channel for a full sing-through without the added commentary from me. And if you've made it this far, thanks for listening. I'll be back in 2 weeks with more Better Harmony. Bye-bye.